yesterday. September 21st was the official United Nations designated International Day of Peace, or World Peace Day. The original purpose of the day back in 1981, when it was proposed by Costa Rica and the United Kingdom together, was to recognize peace. It was 20 years later that they locked it as a celebration on September 21st specifically, and began it as a call for a ceasefire around the world. Celebrations and commemorative events began developing around the world at that time as well. A survey by the Culture of Peace News Network found internet reports concerning more than 942 celebrations of International Peace Day from 93 different countries around the world in 2023. Perhaps this year, 2024, we will see reports of over 1,000 events from over 100 countries of yesterday's celebrations for the International Day of Peace. I'll be watching the news for reports. Spirit of peace and life, may our World Day of Peace stand as a symbol of humanity's common vision for a world at peace. May it remind us to seek peace and harmony in our lives, as well as in the world community. May peace prevail on earth. One significant feature of the day is a call for ceasefire and nonviolence in places around the world experiencing conflict. And yet, our wars continue. The decades-long war in Myanmar has killed over 12,000 people so far this year. Nearly 22,000 people have died this year in the current version of the war in the Middle East. Russia's war with Ukraine has seen just over 34,000 deaths in 2024. The insurgency in Maghreb also has passed 10,000 fatalities so far this year. The ongoing Sudanese civil war and the Mexican drug war gets mentioned as well, also on the list, each under 10,000 for this year. This list I refer to is simply the Wikipedia list of ongoing armed conflicts around the world. Those are just the ones that have conflicts over 1,000 deaths. Our world is too steeped in violence and war. And while the United States is not actively engaged militarily in any of these wars, a point worth noting, we are involved in several of them through humanitarian aid and military support, such as with Ukraine and the Middle East. One part of our individual work for peace is to apply what pressure we can on our institutions and government officials to promote peace. Ultimately, I must share that I am not a full pacifist. I understand the ways in which careful use of force can aid in the creation of peace. I acknowledge that there are situations, Ukraine is an example, in which it is not enough to simply say no to a bully, and the use of force for defense or to stop a bully's aggression is warranted. I know this makes the conversation more complicated because now we need to parse out exactly where best to draw the line. But I believe that is the world we live in, and this is the real struggle we face. Where do we draw the line to say this violence and war is acceptable, and that is not? I've given a general answer for where that line might be for me. I hope that you will spend some time struggling with that question for yourself, not just with wars, but perhaps all forms of violence. War, however, is my topic this morning in the World Peace Day. I want to spend some time focused on the aspect of war that is tangled up in religion. Religion is a common element in war. It is often misused and perverted as a tool to perpetuate war. I am among the camp of people who believe that the only legitimate interpretations of religious belief doctrine, and scripture are those interpretations that are life-giving instead of life-denying. As such, when religion is used to promote violence and war, I see it as a perversion of the truth in religion. Consider the Israel-Hamas war. It presents as a war between Islam and Judaism. It is, of course, also a war about nationality, a war over land, a war fueled by political extremism, but religion is a huge part of that conflict. Religion can be a call toward peace, a call for harmony and grace. Religion can also be used as a call for sectarianism and division, a call to do violence against the heretics, the unbelievers, the heathens, and the infidels. This, despite Islam's claim that peace is so central to their faith, the word Islam translates as peace. This, despite Christianity's claim that Jesus is the Prince of Peace. This, despite Buddhism's claim that peace is the path. The behaviors of violence witnessed in the name of religion do not align with the language of loving peace offered by those same religions. Spirit of peace and love, may this day of peace shine as a reminder that every day can be a day of peace. May our religions speak their true messages of peace for all people. May peace prevail on earth. Thankfully, there are numerous voices among religious leaders calling for peace and peaceful behaviors, urging people toward deeper understanding of one another. Pope Francis recently shared these remarks at an interreligious youth event in Singapore. He said, "All religions are paths to reach God. They are, to make a comparison, like different languages, different dialects to get there. But God is God for everyone. If you start to fight saying, my religion is more important than yours, mine is true and yours isn't, where will this lead us? There is only one God, and each of us has a language to arrive at God. Some are Sikh, Muslim, Hindu, Christians. They are different ways to God." It is interesting that he used different languages as a comparison. We can learn to talk with each other. We can learn each other's languages without fearing them, and then communicate with each other about the important things we share. For religions, violence and the urge for dominance begins with making a group into the other, with the dehumanizing of a set of people. It begins with mine is true and yours isn't. But if we can remain human with each other, there remain opportunities for peace. If we can meet and talk, then the whole world becomes possible. Catholic theologian Hans Kung has said, "No peace among nations without peace among religions, and no peace among religions without dialogue between religions." We must be able to talk, to see one another as fellow human beings. Circling back to the example of the Israel-Hamas war, one significant impact in Israel of the walls and the checkpoints and the two-tier justice system and the rhetoric is to keep Palestinians and Israelis from meeting each other as fellow human beings. Certainly part of the point is to create safety for one group and cause harm for the other. But another impact for both the Israelis and the Palestinians is that it dehumanizes the people on the other side of the wall. It keeps the two groups separate and not talking to each other. For dozens of years, countless non-government organizations and other grassroots, unofficial groups have worked to bring peace and to bring change for Palestinians and Israelis. Certainly there are many outsiders lending support, but most notably, there have been a significant number of Arab and Israeli people working together to build bridges of understanding and to dismantle the structures of violence and injustice through whatever means they have possible. Some are activists, some are business people, Some are former combatants, and some are artists. I remember learning a lot about the situation 10 years ago when the children of Abraham hosted a program and a speaker on the topic. I learned about schools that were teaching the children both Arabic and Hebrew. I learned about theater groups and music groups comprised of people from both sides creating art with the message of unity and peace. I learned about a publishing house putting out graphic novels to reach as many people as possible, all working nonviolently to build a better future for all the people in that area. I imagine that much of that work is lost in the rubble after this past year. One poignant lesson I take from this is that it really is through the effort of regular people that anything meaningful can be achieved. However, if that work does not also move the governments to participate in the work for peace, there will be no peace. Spirit of peace and love, may we always stay open to the possibility of peace through our words and our action. May the violence and horrors we still find in our world neither dishearten us nor tempt us into cynicism. May peace prevail on earth. So what can we do to keep each other human through these wars? Some players on the world stage do not want peace. They want power and money, and one way to obtain it is through the chaos and destruction of war. Be mindful of the motives of your leaders. If you want your neighbor to stop attacking you and threatening you, seek out their motive. What do they fear? What are they trying to protect? In the Middle East, those seeking war and resisting a peace process are doing so out of a yearning to eliminate a perceived threat. I don't think it's unrealistic to say that they want to make their people safe, but the path they are choosing is the path of war, a path to try to eliminate the perceived threat. It certainly seems as though Netanyahu's Israel is not seeking peace. Neither is Hamas's leadership, for that matter, although the people are crying out. But pressure from their partners, such as various Arab countries and the United States, could push them toward the negotiating table and toward that two-state solution, which is entirely possible and would bring dignity to different people. But this leads me back to that question: what can we do to keep each other human? I don't have any influence over the leaders of Israel or Palestine, but I do know Jewish and Muslim people here at home, and I can do my part to ease the division to keep my colleagues and my neighbors human. I don't have any sway with the current United States administration to pressure our leaders to use our leverage for peace, but I can reach out to all of you here and to elected officials closer to home with my message of hope and peace. We can write letters and attend rallies in solidarity. We can build our own grassroots networks here that can build peace in the places where we have influence, and trust that it will have an impact, and trust that it will grow. We must call up the true words found in each of our various faith traditions leading us toward peace. We must challenge those interpretations of religious texts that call for violence. We must challenge those beliefs that call for separating out those who are different, that dehumanize others. We must call out for peace with all our hearts. Spirit of peace and life, may our minds be set on peace with freedom and justice, and may a song of peace take root in our hearts and sing us gently through all the tumultuous days ahead. May peace prevail on earth in a world without end. May it be so.